You're invited to step back in time some 4,000 years to explore the ancient land of the Bible, what we now call the Middle East, and to meet legendary people whose stories have influenced millions of lives throughout history. Reader's Digest brings you Great People of the Bible. You'll see how God leads Abraham to his ultimate test of faith. Will he sacrifice his son at the Lord's command? You'll meet Abraham's son Isaac, whose twin sons Esau and Jacob, in a lifetime of conflict, battle for their birthright and their father's blessing. And you'll meet Jacob's handsome and compassionate son Joseph, sold as a slave into Egypt by his brothers, who eventually becomes one of the most powerful men in the court of Pharaoh. These are tales of intrigue, full of twists and turns, lies and deceptions, drama and passion. They are an integral part of history's most revered work of literature, the Bible. First, the story of Abraham and Sarah. We'll travel from the ancient Babylonian city of Ur, which is in modern-day Iraq, north to the city of Haran, in the region we now call southern Turkey, and then finally south into the land of Canaan, today part of Israel and Lebanon. This episode marks a great turning point in biblical history as God singles out one man and his family to receive his special revelation, care, and promises. What was so special about Abraham and Sarah, who were chosen to give birth not only to a great nation, but also to one of the most inspirational spiritual revolutions of all time? Actually, Abraham and Sarah were quite human, and even though he questioned and from time to time challenged the will of God, Abraham continued to exhibit faith, gratitude, and a unique loyalty to God on such a monumental scale that he deserves to be called, as he is, the father of us all. Our story begins in the city of Ur, in what is today Iraq. Here is where Abraham and Sarah spent their early years, about 2,000 years before the birth of Christ. The concept of one God had not yet been widely accepted, and they were surrounded by people who worshipped idols. In his waning years, Abraham's father, Terah, decided to move from Ur to the land of Canaan. So he took with him Abraham, Sarah, and his grandson Lot. They first traveled northward some 500 miles to Haran. Today, Haran is called Tel El Mugayar in southeastern Turkey. They settled there, and that is where Terah died. As the years went by, Abraham and Sarah lived an ordinary pastoral life, but there remained a tremendous void in their lives. They were never able to have children. When Abraham was 75 years old, God challenged him to his first test of faith. In Genesis 12:1, the Lord said to Abraham,
"Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great."
Abraham left his homeland in Haran to embark on a treacherous journey of some 400 miles south to the land of Canaan. His faith was strong, and he did as God commanded. With no maps to guide him, and not knowing the languages, he had to barter for provisions as he traveled through strange and sometimes hostile lands. When the caravan reached Canaan, God once again appeared, and in Genesis 12:7, the Lord said to Abraham,
"To your offspring I will give this land."
Abraham continued his journey through the land of Canaan to the oak of Moreh at Shechem, and to the mountains to the east of Bethel, where he built altars, a tribute to his faith in God. As time passed, however, Abraham's faith appeared to waver. Here he was, as God had led him, in a foreign land surrounded by pagans, and he and Sarah still childless. How was he to give this land to his offspring when he didn't have any land and he didn't have any children? And to make matters even worse, a severe famine swept through Canaan. Abraham and Sarah could not survive if they were to remain in Canaan. Not waiting for any divine message, Abraham took Sarah and Lot and the rest of his household and went down to the more fertile land of Egypt, where there was sure to be food. Before entering Egypt, Abraham had known about the killing of husbands and the kidnapping of wives. Not yet ready to trust completely in God's promise to ensure his safety, that evening Abraham devised a plot that may very well have saved his life. He told Sarah, "You are a beautiful woman, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife,' and they will kill me, but they will let you live. Tell them instead, 'You are my sister.'" Just as Abraham had feared, the caravan was stopped as they entered Egypt. And when the officials of Pharaoh saw Sarah, they were impressed with her beauty and took her into Pharaoh's household. She was prepared for her introduction. When she was presented to Pharaoh, he was taken with her exotic appearance and the fact that she was a stranger in his land. Of course, he had no idea that she was the wife of Abraham. Pharaoh had been told she was unmarried, and he took her for his wife. What was Sarah to do? She could not protest, for to do so she would have endangered Abraham. As time went on, the pleased Pharaoh rewarded Abraham with generous gifts. Gifts of camels, sheep, oxen, slaves, and donkeys. But then, Pharaoh and his entire household suddenly became deathly ill. Because of his sin with Sarah, the Lord had afflicted Pharaoh and his people with great plagues, even though Pharaoh had no knowledge that Sarah was indeed Abraham's wife. The hurt and angry Pharaoh summoned Abraham and blamed him for the plagues. "What is this you have done to me?" he cried. "Why did you not tell me Sarah was your wife? Why did you say she was your sister so that I took her for my wife? Here is your wife then. Take her and be gone." It was a wealthier and more prosperous Abraham who took his family and returned to the land of Canaan. By then, Abraham and Lot, who was with him, owned so much cattle that their herdsmen were fighting each other for choice grazing lands.
Eliezer!